Hey everybody, and welcome to another episode of Honest to Pod with me, the beautiful Ashley McAllister.
And me, Matthew Ali. Maybe not so beautiful. I will say this
I
actually.
think,
This week I look incredibly good. So my face is really nice.
do you know what? You've caught the sun, haven't you?
I have. And just before we
Mm.
carry on the conversation, and this is episode 77. Yeah,
Yeah, you're right. You got
yeah.
it.
I
How
have caught the
dare you?
sun. So
How dare you take my line? I am, I am going to give you the biggest beating when I see you next time. How dare you do that? That is my line.
my bad. Um, yeah. So I've kind of given myself. This week's been a funny week, I will say that, and I guess it's. I've been. I found this week the most sort of like. I've been the most sensitive this week for sure, right? Out of everything, and
Mm.
given like the sun and I'll go in a bit more about how sort of feeling. I kind of gave myself like, and not to say that everything's so intense, but I kind of saw in my head that this was like my week off. So I spent a lot of time sunbathing at this quiet little park, which is really nice, just by the river. Um,
Yeah.
and it's not very busy. It's like this green, just on St Catherine's Docks in London, and it's quite quiet. So I've been there from like 10 till 4, like Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, or 12 till 5 kind of thing, like long hours, literally just in the sun. And it's been really, really nice. I must admit, first time getting out of the house properly. Um, Spent a day with Jordan, which was really, really sweet, and started seeing people, one on one, really properly. So yeah, that's been really, really nice. But I have caught the sun. I have, and my skin is delicious. I will say that, absolutely
Ooh.
delicious. My forehead starts to crack a little bit though today, which is not cute.
Oh, that's old age though. It happens. Don't worry. Just moisturize more.
Okay, one, it's impossible because I've been putting on 3 coats a day. I'll sit here watching TV, and then I'll do one layer, and then I'll put another layer on. I feel like, yeah, because I felt like my skin's, I don't know what it is, but I feel like it's just absorbing like the moisturizer really quickly. So I'm just putting on loads and loads. I'm lacquering up a lot. Um,
Yeah.
I don't know what it is. I don't know why it feels that way. Yeah,
Well, I mean, it is important to keep yourself moisturized, keep
yeah.
yourself moist. Um, yeah, I mean, we've not had as much sun here as you guys have had over there. I mean, it stopped raining today, which is nice, and I don't think it's going to rain for the next few days.
What
So
has it been
touch
raining for
wood.
more than one day?
Yeah, I mean, it pretty much rains, and it's been really really windy, like windy that plant pots have fallen over, and my mum was like cleaning dirt up because the plant pot rolled around the garden yesterday.
Did your
And
mum get blown away?
no, Jesus, she's like a oh, um, she's built like a truck, that woman. Um,
You're so horrible.
Listen, there's nothing I would not say on here that I do not say to her
That's
face.
the problem. You
Well,
say this shit to your mum.
it's
You're so horrible. It's so horrible.
it's not. The reason why is because I love her, and I am the only one of my siblings. Do you know what it is? I'm the only one of. Well, I can't say this because I love my siblings, but I would say I'm the only one who picks on my mum to the point where I get a positive change. Does that make sense?
You bully
So
her into changing her behaviors.
I don't like. Well, she calls me a bully all the time, but essentially, I hit her with harsh truths. So my mum used to smoke for 30 years. She smoked. At one point, she was definitely a chain smoker. And then she cut off, and then she started changing what she smoked. And she had, as far as I can remember back, she had a horrible, horrible smoker's cough.
Mm.
Um, and it did not care to her, did not matter to her. When both my auntie and my um, grandmother died of cancer, it did not phase her, and in fact, she had this really sort of weird approach where she was like, "Well, because we'd say, well, I'd obviously say, well, Mum, it's not the best for you smoking. It's not, it's not very good." She's like, "Well, your nan and your auntie didn't smoke a day in their lives, and they both had cancer." And I'm like, "Oh, that's not the right attitude to have, Mom.
They didn't
Just
smoke
means
a
you're
day in their life
more
and they got
likely."
what? Sorry,
They got cancer.
lung cancer.
Um, no, just cancer.
Then it's not related,
Um,
right? Not related.
well, I don't think you can say that. Um,
I'm a
but
doctor. I know exactly what I'm talking about. Much like Ben being a lawyer, and he knows exactly what he's talking about.
don't. That last night, I was just like, Um, but then I when I moved back here like 4 years ago, I was like, my main goal is going to get her to stop smoking, and I did. And it took a lot of arguments, and it took a lot of back and forth, and fights and disagreements, and but here we are sitting. And and I'm immensely proud. Like she is now like 3 years, 3 years non-smoking. Um, and the remarkable thing is, um, I think the very first day she stopped smoking, um, she slept so late, and I actually started to panic. I thought like it was like 11 o'clock in the morning, and she hadn't got out of bed yet, and I was like,
Ooh.
oh my god, did her heart like explode from no nicotine? Um, and then she came down and she goes, oh god, I didn't realize the time. I slept right through, and I'm like, well, that's because you're not smoking, and there's nothing going in there that's keeping you up.
I
Um,
I guess it's yeah, because you'd crave it after a few hours, isn't it, in the morning and stuff. So that would kind of like
yeah,
compel you to get up, maybe.
yeah. And then within a week, her cough had gone. Like her smoker's cough had just completely gone, and it's like I've like anytime I'm home, you would hear that cough once every 5 minutes, if that.
Oh,
Like, do you know what I mean? It was, and a week later, I swear we could have gone a whole day without her smoking. Um, and I know she feels better for it now. I mean, she now blames me for like she has put on weight, and I mean she's put on weight a lot since Christmas to here, like when I was back at Christmas to now, and she blames me because she goes, "Well, if I was smoking, I'd be thinner," and I'm like, "Well, when you're smoking, still weren't that thin, mum." So, um,
such a vile son.
I'm not vile.
You are such a
Um,
vile son.
Listen, my mum points out to me when I put on weight, and I just the thing is, you know me, Matt. I am a straight shooter. I don't beat around the bush. I'll just tell you how it is, and there's no point wasting time. To me, pussyfooting around my mum saying, "Oh, you don't look that bad." We had an argument last week where she was like, "Oh, I'm getting shorter, so things in the top shelf are harder to reach," and I was like, "No, mum, they're harder to reach because your belly sticks out more and you can't get close enough to get them."
You did
And
not say
she's
this
like,
to your mum.
"Oh, of course I said it to my mum.
Fuck me. Oh my
Why
god.
would I? Why would I not? I would say it to
It's
anyone."
unnecessary though. It's unnecessary, especially because like right, you talk about your weight, and we know that your weight fluctuations is dramatic. It is. It's drastic. Um,
Yeah,
right, and then you do get upset when people like tell you about that. I know you do, and you've said it to me before.
I
That
don't.
people
I don't.
make a point of telling you when you already know. You know, we all know within ourselves when our body changes quite dramatically. And if it's something negative, and then people tell you like it does. It does.
It does, but I would push back in the sense of I 100% know, and I would prefer people to tell me that I've put on weight, because in me, I know what I have to do to lose it again, and to me the reminders are that. The difference with my mum is that she's like, well, I can't do anything to lose weight, so we may as well just accept it. I'm like, well, you could do this. No, I can't do that. Well, you could do that. No, I can't do that. And last night, literally, the conversation we had last night was, I was going down to the shop. She goes, can you get me chocolate? And I was like,
I will get me chocolate, not you.
and I said to her, I was like, Mom, I'll get you chocolate whenever you get yourself a swimming suit and when you can go to the beach or go to the swimming pool to do aerobics. And she's like, in fact, fuck off, I don't want chocolate. And I'm like, right, I'll get you chocolate. But and then we had an argument about, she was, why are you always trying to get me to go to the swimming pool? I don't like swimming, I don't like this. I said, Mom, it's not swimming. I was like, okay, if you don't want to do that, tell me what you want to do, and we'll make it happen. And then that bitch named like, oh, I wanted this bike, and I was like, Mom, that bike is £1,000. You can go whistle. I'm not buying you a bike.
Oh, Ashley, listen, you just started to set a goal. You told it was unattainable, unreachable, unfair. What the fuck is wrong with you?
What?
That's
No,
rude.
no. What she was saying is, I want you to buy me £1,000 bike, and I was like, I'm not buying you £1,000 bike, Mom.
She wants you to pay for it.
Of course, that's what she said.
Oh, absolutely not. I don't know what she's thinking. She's absolutely mental.
So
Contribute,
I have
maybe, but no.
I have holidays to pay for. I've got my own things. Um, no, but I think we'll figure something out.
Do you
What I
know?
might do is the bike.
Go, Karen.
Oh, the bike she likes to do is, it's a little bike that Mickey has in the gym, and he lent it to me.
Mm.
But Mickey is, I don't know if I should say this in case. Oh, okay. Well, I'm going to sort of try and arrange Mickey to do some PT sessions with my mum, and then she can go out and use that bike, and just
Mm.
I'll pay PT. I'm not buying her £1,000 bike, but I'll pay Mickey to let her use his bike. If that makes
Yeah,
sense.
that's fair. Plus, you know, like it'll be £1,000 spent, and then she won't use it, and then that'd be more frustrating, I guess.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And because it sat in our house for about a week, and she's like, "Oh, I've used it." I was like, "Mom, you used it for like 2 minutes to show that you can use it. Like, doesn't really count."
Mm. I think
Anyway,
I feel like
we're
my
not going
mum.
to talk about my mom.
Oh, I was going to
my
just talk
my
about my
mom's
mum.
way from.
Well, we were talking about my mum. I went to see my mum yesterday, and she, my nephew was there, and then he's 11, and I was like, I knew that my mum started smoking when she was 11, and she smoked through all of her pregnancy. She was a big smoker as well,
Mm.
and she was like, God, yeah, she used to chain smoke because obviously it was like fine then. So she used to like, she said she used to wake up in the middle of the night, like 3, 4 o'clock in the morning, and smoke as well. Like she literally just smoked and smoked and smoked. Um,
Yeah.
and she stopped after like she tried to stop a few times, and then I think it might be 10 years, probably not 10 years, but something like within my early 20s, she somehow managed just to stop smoking. I think she got ill over something else. No, this is a lie. This is a complete lie. But she did stop smoking, and she feels much much better for it. Like she never had a cough or anything like that. Like there was nothing really bad about it. It was just, and she never smoked. She used to smoke in the house, and then she stopped doing that. You know, when she realized, like quite early on, that and people stopped smoking indoors. Um,
Mm.
what do you remember? And then I told her because she never knew. I was like, she did. She was talking about the fact that my older brother, one time when I was younger, she had. It was one of the most, you know, those things that just stick in your mind. It was one of the scariest things. My mum is fucking scary anyway, but it was honestly at like one day my older brother came home and she'd somehow found out, and I never knew this for years. You know, it's one of those things where your parents know something and you never know how they
Mm.
knew. But she had known that he'd smoked that day. I don't know if he'd smoked regularly or something, but my older brother came in from secondary school and we were still in primary school. And then she was like, come here, let me smell your breath. Let me smell your breath. And he was like, what? Came over, couldn't smell it. And listen, she smelled his breath, then she stepped back and she gave him the most, like the biggest slap across the face. She, you know, like full on palm, bam, and she's
Ooh.
like, "You've been smoking. You've been smoking how fucking dare you? Disgusting this, that, and the other." Bearing in mind that on a daily basis, she's rolling up hash joints in the evening, in the house.
Mm.
But you know, he's like I don't know, 12, 13 or whatever. And then she was going at him so much. It was honestly one of the scariest things ever. And she asked us all to sit there and watch because she wanted us to know.
Oh
um,
wow.
yeah. And I was like, oh my god, yeah. Um, I definitely tried. Do you remember how old you were when you first tried a cigarette,
I
or when it was?
the first and only time I started smoking, I think I was 14.
Mm.
Yeah, 14. I think. Yeah, 14.
What happened? Like how?
Well, I was dating a girl at the time,
Ooh.
and I know.
Did you
and,
finger her pussy?
oh, no, no, not at 14. I waited until I was 17 to do that with somebody.
Oh,
Uh,
so
I can still
unlucky.
smell it.
Oh no.
um, no, we were walking. I think what we did, we had, there was this day where like 20 people skived school. We all got caught and we all had to get like detention. And I was one of those cowardly people that threw people under the bus, so I would not get suspended. I only got detention. So I was like, well, this person was here, this person was
Oh
here, that person was.
no.
I know, I
Oh
know.
my god. Did people find out that you're a snitch?
I think people found out that there was about 6 or 7 snitches, but they
Ooh.
didn't like. And it was quite clear who it was because of the ones who went into detention rather than got suspended.
Oh yeah, of
But
course.
it wasn't as if it wasn't as if there was no. It wasn't as if like it wasn't like nobody was hostile towards us afterwards because we were all busted at the same time. There was to me the stupid people were the ones who didn't cooperate. Like you're already caught. What is the point of saying you weren't there when you were caught there?
Because
Does that
snitches
make
get
sense?
bit. Snitches get bitches. I said. Snitches get stitches.
We sure do, and I can still smell it now.
Oh my god.
So yeah, so me and this girl I was dating, we were walking, and she smoked. And she was like, "Have you ever tried it?" And I was like, "No, I mean I can smell my mom. I don't like it." Um, and she goes, "Well, try it and see." And I tried it, and I was like, it just burnt my throat, and I tasted it for
Mm.
like an hour afterwards, and I was like, "No, it's definitely not for me."
Yeah, absolutely not. I was much much younger. Like it was really weird. I told my mum as well because she didn't know. But I was in primary school, and one of the neighbors had just like, yeah, I was really young. I was really young. I think like 7 or 8 years old, and I was just really interested. So like this neighbor had basically like finished a cigarette before she went in the house, but there was a little bit left. So I picked it up and just like smoked it. Well, I took a puff. I didn't smoke it, and it was horrible. Like it was horrible.
Mm.
Yeah, I couldn't have it again. And then it would have been like years after that before I like tried another cigarette. But yeah,
And
it's not for me.
did you try it again?
Yeah, I tried it again. Like I tried it again. I took one of my mum's ones once and tried it in the house behind a chair for some reason. Um, that wasn't nice either. And then yeah, like like on nights out as I got older as a teenager, but not in secondary school because I knew what it was like. I just knew I didn't like it. What I find really bizarre is that there were actual corners in school where people smoked. So people smoked in the day in school. I can't imagine people doing that
Yeah.
now. Surely, like think about it. Like
Well, the thing that was crazy is I'm pretty sure, like for example, me who was a non-smoker knew where people went to smoke, and
yeah, yeah, yeah.
like it was the same year after year. No matter what year you were in at school, everybody went to the same place.
Mm.
And I was like, how did teachers not know?
Yeah,
Like, what?
it must do. I don't know.
It's just anyway. Yeah, I can't imagine people now doing it. Or I don't. Well, I think the legal age of cigarettes has changed, hasn't it? It's no longer 16. It's because it was 16, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And it's now 18, isn't it? Or 21? 21?
No, not 21 for cigarettes. That'd be ridiculous.
Oh,
I don't know. I didn't know it changed.
well, maybe it's not changed.
But I think you have. I think there's still. What's it? You have to. It's more like in shops. It's still like you have to be. You have to look over 21 not to get IDs, but you can be. You can still buy it. What would it be called? Smoking age. Teens aged 6 and 17 may smoke tobacco, but it's illegal to sell tobacco to products anyone under the age of 18. And then yeah.
Oh, so you can still smoke, but you just can't buy it.
Yeah, yeah.
All right. Okay.
No. Oh, no, I'm glad I don't smoke. To be fair, I don't. I'm not a big fan.
I don't know how people can afford it. Like genuinely, if people smoke because they're so expensive. And I'm just
Nowadays,
like,
they're outrageous.
how do you like? How can you afford to do that? And you know,
And live
I
life.
just yeah.
Yeah, it's outrageous.
Anyway, um, yeah, mad. I can't believe you smoked at 7.
I
It's
know,
clearly stunted your growth.
100%. I was one of the tallest in my year up until year 9. Me and my twin brother, but we stopped growing. Like I reached like 5'9" or whatever, and then 5'9" and a bit. But like really early on, like just as I got to like secondary school. But then everyone else was shorter. But then like I stopped growing and everyone else grew. Because we were talking about my nephew's
Yeah.
going to secondary school next year, and he said he's the third tallest in his year. And my mum lives near my secondary school. Honestly, and it is always the most African kids that are there, like the darkest of dark skinned kids. They are just starting year 7, and they are like 6'3". Like they are humongous. These year 7s, and I'm like, how is it? They're growing. These kids are so much taller than they used to be.
Yeah.
They're humongous, absolutely gigantic.
Oh,
No.
I miss school. Would you go back to school if you could?
I don't know how to answer that question really. I liked my school life. Like I had good times in secondary school. I never really suffered anything. Like I was never bullied. I did well in school. I had things to do. I had friends. I had a really positive experience in school. I had a lot of positive affirmations as it
Yeah.
were. Like I was really fat, but I don't know. When people call me fat, like it just didn't really. It obviously bothered me a little bit, like as a kid, and I didn't like the way I looked and all that sort of shit to a certain extent. But I never really felt downtrodden by it, I guess.
No.
Yeah. I wish. Do I wish? This is different. I wasn't like outwardly gay in school. Like I didn't even know, really, that I was for most of my. Or I don't know how to say no or accept it or whatever. That I was gay. For a long time, I didn't really look into it. So I remember like one of the first times that I was homesick, and I basically for the first time looked for penises online. And I think I was about 14. And
Ooh.
yeah, so I mean, I've done a few things, but I think that's quite late. Maybe not. But I didn't really,
Oh,
yeah, and I didn't really sort of think about that when I was in school. Like, it never really crossed my mind. You know, I didn't look at anyone. I went to an all boys school. I didn't look at anyone and think they were attractive or anything like that. Like, I never really connected the dots in that way. They were kind of two separate things. Um, so I didn't really need to worry. Whereas there was this guy in my school who was, you know, he was like really one of the only feminine, really camp guys in my school. There weren't many that I was aware of,
yeah,
and he got really bullied. You know,
yeah,
really, really bullied. So I don't know. It'd be nice to think that I could be there to like stand up for it and stuff. I guess, but then I didn't have to worry about that too much. So yeah,
yeah,
my school life was pretty good, to be fair. I enjoyed it.
yeah. I mean, um, I would go back. I mean, I was bullied at school, um, but I'd still go back. I think I'd go back. I mean, it sounds ideal. Like I'd go back with the knowledge I have now that
Oh, I
everything
mean,
works out.
obviously,
Yeah, no, but
yeah, yeah.
like everything works out okay, and you know things get better, and
I would have just got
like
all
life
A
doesn't.
stars if I could go back after all of this. I would have actually put some effort into studying. I'd never revised in my
Yeah,
life. I'd never revised a thing until A level, I think. Like, never, never. And now, yeah, absolutely. I was never.
yeah,
I think I was quite lucky about bullying. To be fair, I mean, it probably would have happened, but I had my older brother was like I was year 7 and he was in year 10, so 4 years
yeah,
older. And he, you know, he's like proper hood or whatever. Like, someone tried to bully me once. So when I first got there, I was walking home from school by myself. I don't know why I was by myself, and this guy came up and took my hat and told me to jump for it. So I just stood there and was just like, I'm not really like an aggressive. I'm not someone who's going to fight someone at all, but I'm also not someone who's just like. I wasn't like scared really or anything like that. I kind of just stood there and just like ridiculous. And then someone was like, "Do you know that's Jason Alley's brother?" And then he was like, "What?" Yeah, yeah, that's Jason Alley's little brother. And we don't look the same because we have different dads. He's a lot lighter than I
mm.
am and stuff. And then he was like, "Oh my god, I'm so sorry." Put the hat on my head. He was like, "Oh my god, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Please don't tell Jason. Please don't tell Jason." So obviously, I went home and I was like, "Mum, guess just what happened." And she was like, "We need to." So then Jason found out. So I'm in the playground in school, right? Maybe the next day, a couple of days later, or something. Because at home, my brother asked me to describe this person. Obviously, I didn't know his name,
Yeah.
and it's like lunchtime, whatever. And I mean, my brother comes up with this guy in his hand, and he's like, "Matt, is this the person that did it to you?" And I was like, "Yep." And he's like, "Don't fucking touch him again, innit?" Yeah, and the guy's like, "Yeah, yeah, cool, cool, cool." And do you know what? It's so funny because
Oh,
my brother's tiny, right? So he's like, he was probably shorter than me at this point, and this guy was taller than me. Um, but Jason's like just got this reputation or whatever. So then like he goes off and he's like, "Yeah, yeah, just tell me if it happens again, innit?" I was like, "Yeah, okay, cool."
oh.
And then pretty much then nothing ever happened to me ever again.
Yeah, I mean,
Even when
that's
yeah,
that's
it's good, isn't it?
that sounds. Yeah, you've got a bigger brother there to protect you. That's fine.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Like it's decent.
Um, it's funny. My little brothers are twins, and it's weird. Like, if I remember right, if somebody picked on them at school, the other one would be there to like beat them up.
For sure.
But they had more fights with themselves than anyone else.
Do they have like physical
So like,
fights?
yeah, I think so. Like, I think I'm sure. I wasn't around for my brother whenever my brothers are a lot younger than me. So by the time they went to secondary school, I'd already moved on to university.
Mm.
So it's just I'm sort of trying to remember phone calls. My mum would say, "Oh, they've been fighting again, and this one was in trouble, and he was sent home." And I'm like, "Oh, right, well, there you
Mm.
go." Yeah, but I never had like a bigger older sibling. My sister was older, but she went to a different school than me.
Yeah.
Um, and then it was just like, yeah, I mean,
I think there is like
yeah, I mean,
perks to it because I'm not that kind of person either. But like when my little brother joined, so there was always like 4 years school gap between all of us, and then my little brother joined, and then some kid had been like picking on him or something. So I did the same thing, I guess, because I learned this
oh,
guy picked him. So I ran out to I grabbed him, like pushed him against the wall, but I pushed him too hard, and he smacked his head so hard against the wall, and I felt bad. I was like shit because he was crying, and I didn't mean to do that. And that's not like it's not really in my nature, but I guess just because it was my little brother, I just felt a bit different, you know. Um,
yeah,
And yeah, no, I felt a bit bad or whatever. And then his brother came to me and I was like, then we had a little argument. We didn't have anything else apart from that. Because his older brother was a year younger than me, so like it was a bit different.
You're like, shut the fuck up, bitch, or
Yeah.
you'll be next. Yeah.
In it.
Oh. In it.
Yeah, but no, I guess you do that for your like siblings, even if you don't like them.
Yeah. Yeah. You sort of, blood is thicker than water, isn't it? And you always sort of, like,
Well, that's definitely what my
you
mum
need to.
taught us. She always taught us like loyalty and all that sort of respect. At the time,
Yeah.
it was really important. So yeah, and I guess we've kind of stood by that for the most part. Not so much now, but definitely a lot them in school.
Well, it's like the best Game of Thrones character says,
I don't know. I literally have no idea.
well, she says, when winter comes, the lone wolf dies, but the pack survives.
I Now's the right time to watch. It's not on Amazon Prime anymore, but like I've only ever watched up season 4 twice, but I've never gone beyond that. So I've never remembered, and I don't remember anything about the books at all, almost not at all.
Oh, I know.
So it'd be a good time to watch it because, and this is a short thing, but I watched this series. There's a game, so I like basketball a lot, and these animators have mixed Game of Thrones with the NBA, and they call it Game of Zones. So they follow
Right.
kind of both stories with the characters, and it won't make any sense. I would say watch it because it's funny, but it won't make any sense at all because like the jokes are very very specific to basketball, but they do
Right.
follow. But they base all of the characters on Game of Thrones characters, so you'll get those references. You'll be like, oh, that's Bran in a wheelchair, and things like that. But if you like basketball, if anyone's listening, and you like Game of Thrones, fuck me, it is hilarious. Oh my days, it's one of the funniest things.
Well, there we go. It was Sansa who said that, by the way.
She's the best, as if.
She is the
Oh
best.
my god, she's the worst. I thought you were
She's
saying
not
Arya
the
or something. Oh my god, she's the
No.
worst character. She is one of the people that should have been killed off. Oh my god, I don't know if she was or not.
Are you
But,
joking?
I'm not even joking. She's horrific.
She's
Horrific.
easily the best character.
Easily. How can you say that?
Yeah.
When Tyrion is there and Arya is there. Even Jaime Lannister's excellent. Oh, Cersei.
Do you know what? I'll take that back. She's my favorite character, but she's definitely the best Stark. But I can see how there's other characters who are not Starks that are good.
How
Tyrion's
can you
good.
say-
Jaime Lannister's.
I don't know how you can say that she's better than Arya when obviously Arya is like the best character in the whole entire series.
Stop it. Take a seat, Matt.
Are you
Take
joking?
a seat. No, I'm not joking.
Oh my days! I mean, how can you say that? She's so interesting.
Because so is Sansa. Sansa starts off from being a total different character to where she ends up.
But the problem is
Arya-
talking about the whole back catalogue of characters. She's terrible for like 3 seasons.
No, because you can see her switch and you can see her learn and you can see her watch and you can see her bring together stuff, manipulate people very early on. You have to be a true fan to see it, but
Okay.
yeah.
All right. You take a seat.
Yeah, Arya, on the other hand, has always been this rough little tomboy, and it's like, oh look, she's going to do another rough little tomboy thing. I'm not saying that she doesn't. I'm not saying that she's not a good character, but the only reason that she's made better is because there's no character development. She just is the same character throughout. She just learns new skills. So, and then not that you would know because you've never seen the ending, but well, I can't say because you've not seen the ending.
Go on, say it.
but,
I will watch it, but say the ending. It's fine because I've definitely seen or heard a lot of spoilers.
She learns all these great new skills, but when the time comes, she doesn't use them. Sansa, on the other hand, fucking learns everything along the way, and when it comes to the crunch, she's like, "Bitch, this is happening right now," and then she owns it. It's like,
I think I heard that. I heard something like that. People were really disappointed about how Arya goes towards the end.
yep, Sansa fierce all the way.
Okay, I do need to watch their final seasons. I wish I remembered the books though, like honestly, because how many books are there? How many? 5?
There's 7 books, but it's sort of 5 books because 2 of the books are split into 2. But to be honest, the TV series, sort of after book 1, it starts to divert quite a lot. So it's sort of if you're watching to me, when I think of the story now, I don't even think of the books because I've associated too much with the TV series. So I think this is actually Game of Thrones ended a year ago, roughly this week. I think the TV series. but I'm thinking next year I'm going to reread the books when it's been like a full year without anything Game of Thrones in my head.
Mm.
Because I really want to read the books, and hopefully by next year he'll release the next book. He's taking his bloody time.
Well, am I right in thinking it's someone else writing the book, or is it him writing the book?
George R. R. Martin's writing the book, yeah.
Oh, okay. For some reason, I don't know what it is. I felt like there's some things where like someone's died and someone else had to write the book, and I didn't know if that was him. Didn't he say though then that he was lost, like he didn't know what to do, and that's why it's taken so long?
No, I think he knows what he's doing because he has said that he doesn't like. Well, I think that he knows what he's doing because he says he doesn't. The ending of his books will not follow the ending of the TV series.
That's so weird, isn't it? Obviously he
Yeah,
allowed it, and it's loads of money, and it's fair enough, like whatever. Um,
yeah. Well, you've seen. Yeah, I mean, there's so many different things happening. Like for example, Lady Stoneheart in the books doesn't ever happen in the TV series. So
that's what's her face.
that's
That's
Catelyn Stark.
oh yeah, when she dies and it comes back.
Yeah, and she dies and comes back, and it's just like, that's quite a big plot thing when it comes, because what she does ends up being, well, I can't say because you'll want to watch it, but yeah. So they've taken bits of characters, and
Mm.
another thing that's happened in the book is they in the book they take, is it Sansa's friend Jane Poole, I think, and they sell her off to the Boltons to marry the Bolton son, but but then pretend that she's Arya. So they I think Littlefinger sort of pretends that Jane Poole is Arya to sort of appease
That's definitely
Bolton.
the
But
books, right?
yeah, that's the book. Yeah,
And that
but in
doesn't
the
happen
TV
in the
series,
TV series.
oh my god, no!
Ooh, that's really
I want
important.
to
I remember that because they
that
kill the bitch,
yeah,
and then
but they
Sansa actually thinks that she died, isn't it, and loses her mind.
yeah, yeah, yeah. But
Okay,
yeah, it's totally. I won't tell you how it's different, but it's totally different in the TV series.
I do need to. I would like to watch it. I need to find it because it's not on Amazon Prime anymore. I don't think so. I need to figure out how to do that.
Well, we on was it Friday night? Yeah, Friday night. We were. I was surprised to get asked to watch it, to be honest, because I'm not even part of the Steelers anymore. But we were invited to watch a documentary. You set up, Matt, because you're actually in the club and I'm not.
So one of our teammates or club mates had made a documentary, and it was going to be in the BFI Flare. What do you call them?
Film festival.
Film Festival. Thank you. And made a documentary on the rugby club called Steelers. So it's Kingshaw Steelers. And
Steelers. Hear
and
the trembler, hear the
and it was supposed to be on, but obviously with everything that happened, we had to cancel it. So he did like a viewing with the rugby club, and so some of us feature in it, and it's nice, and it talks about his journey. It's not a documentary on the Steelers, so I guess maybe the name's a little bit deceiving, because it's definitely about his life, and then a few of the others' lives, as opposed to actually the history of the club and stuff. But it was very emotional.
Yeah,
Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Like it's definitely, yeah. If you're going to look at the club as a whole, I think it would have been important to look at like the club as a whole, which it just doesn't completely in that respect. But we got to watch it on
yeah,
Friday, and there was a live viewing for the rugby club, and yeah, it was very interesting. It followed mostly our tournament that we had in Amsterdam 2 years ago,
mm,
which was very very good. Our friend Drew was in it a lot, which was very very nice to see, and
yeah,
our coach at the time, Nick Iffins even, I don't say Evans, but who has her own issue. I say issues. I don't want to say issues, but like challenges as being a female coach,
obstacles. Yeah,
obstacles, yeah, and things as well, which I think added a really good element to the actual story.
I messaged her afterwards, and I was just like, it was, yeah, and then the other guy Simon they sort of followed three people, as well as then Eamon who made the documentary, but yeah, Simon's story just blew me away really as well. I was just like, wow.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. So it was. You're right. It wasn't so much a documentary about the club. It goes in a little bit about the history of the club, and but it is more about, I guess, how the gay rugby club has helped Eammon, the guy who pulled together the documentary, how it helped him and find like his place, as well as giving like a place to other people, and it then focuses on three stories of other people.
Mm.
Um, yeah, I had it's well. So it started off like, and this is where we were messaging, and I thought it started at 7, and I got a notification saying, "Oh, it starts in 10 minutes." So I was like, "Okay, I'll sit here ready to go." Um, and then I messaged you like halfway through, and the reason why is like I was watching this for the first half hour or 20 minutes or whatever it was. I was like, "This is not what I thought this would be about." It was all about like Steelers drag race and all this like stuff going on, and I'm like, oh my god, this is actually really bad. And then that's why I was like low key, I was low key messaging you saying, "Are you watching this?" And you're like, "No, no, I'm not watching it. It doesn't start for another 10 minutes." I'm like, "No, it started now," and it's not. I thought it was about Bingham, and
Mm.
then turned out that was just like a not like a trailer, but like a lead up, and I was like, oh, okay. And then the thing started, and I was just like hooked. And I was really really good. I was so emotionally involved. And what for me as somebody who's I've been to a few tournaments, really made me miss that tournament experience and like the I can't say the word camaraderie. Is that
Yeah.
the right word?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely is.
Um, camaraderie. I missed the camaraderie and I missed the pulling together and the team sport element. I really did miss it. I got like, oh, it like the instant flashbacks to um, Nashville and Dublin actually because Dublin was only last year and I really enjoyed Dublin.
Mm.
Um, I was just like, yeah, I was overwhelmed by how amazing it was.
Yeah, because like I've been thinking a lot about continuing rugby at the moment and stuff, and I've definitely been in the mindset that I think I'm going to slow down slash almost stop just because I've been doing it for 10 years with the King Trust Steelers, and a lot of things have changed, but I think a lot of things for me have changed as well, and it's nice not having being broken all the time. If I'm honest, like my body feels a lot better for it because you do
Mm.
take a bit of a beating and it's been really really nice. But then when you watch things like that, like I definitely won't leave it forever because the tournaments are really the thing that I love. They're the most unique experience that you can get, I think, and I think it's one of the things that makes our community special is being able to go to these different places. And I would recommend to anyone if they're able to, if it's ever near them. I don't know if you get, I guess I don't know if you get completely the same experience just visiting like one of these events, but when you're a part of a team and you build up to these tournaments, it is really emotional, isn't it? Like it's beautiful, and you just remember how great these times were, and playing
Yeah,
rugby and then speaking to everyone. And I'm not the kind of
yeah.
person in new situations to go around and speak to new people ever. Really, I'm quite reserved when it comes to new situations. Um,
Mm.
but I'm very different in these tournaments. Like I just go around, I'm just talking to strangers, talking about their rugby, because you've got something you can kind of talk about, I guess, in a way, but it's not, and then you get to know a bit more about people.
Yeah,
Yeah. So
it is. It's a unique experience. Like, yeah, I mean, it. I would say maybe if you just rock up for the day and think, "Oh, I'm going to go watch this rugby tournament for the day," I don't think you'd get the same experience. But I would say if you're in an area which has one of the was it like 60 plus LGBT sports teams, rugby
there's
teams,
I think there's over hundreds.
is it over 100 now.
Yeah.
I would definitely go down and even if you don't want to play rugby, I'd encourage you to try it. Um, but definitely become a supporter and get involved because when it comes to these tournaments and we're lucky we're coming from one of the biggest teams ever for the tournament.
The biggest team.
Um, yeah, we are, aren't we?
Yeah.
Uh, so we're like taking 5 or 6, and you're there like a force, and we're all together wearing similar like the same top. It makes an impression, and we're very lucky to be part of that.
Mm.
Why I say we are like you are, I guess I'm no longer part of it, but it's yeah, it really was really awesome, and I have to clap for Eamon for
Mm.
definitely pulling that together.
Well, I
Um,
think the thing is, like, I think the film was good, and it definitely pulled in like emotions and stuff, and I think it very centered around like these individual narratives, and because someone had messaged me being like, "Oh, the coach comes across," and this is someone who doesn't know her. The coach comes across really, really well, And I was like, she does. They're like, she's such a nice person. I was like, one thing she isn't. But I have very negative experiences with the coach. We did
Mm,
not get on well at all. You know me, like I can be like, I'm not always
yeah,
especially if it's like an authority figure, kind of thing. Um,
yeah,
so I was a bit like, nah, But I will say that like her story about like her family and her dad and stuff was, I actually welled up a little bit. Like, and she's a great storyteller. I think that
yeah.
she was excellent as she spoke.
I mean, I have to say, I've always liked Nick, and there's times where she's done stuff that I disagreed with, but you have to respect that, like her role.
Mm,
I don't think she had the easiest time at our club with other hurdles with people I don't like. Um, and yeah, I was just like, I think she did a really good job. I actually messaged her after saying, unbelievable, and I thanked her for her part with the Steelers.
mm,
Because I definitely think she did change the team around a bit, like quite a lot actually. I'd say in the 3 years she was there. It seems longer than 3 years if I'm honest, but yeah, I think she did quite a lot. Um, I would say not all of it's good, but I would definitely say not all of it's bad.
no, no,
But
not at all, not at all.
yeah. So I thought she was good. It was Simon's story that really blew me away. I was just like, wow. Because anytime, I mean, I don't know him that well, and I guess he joined literally the year I left,
Mm,
and I never actually got a chance to know him that well. Because at the time, even though I played for the second team, but pretty much all my friends played for the first team, so I knew sort of both teams very well. Um, and I was just like, God, anytime I've met him, like Dublin or wherever, and when I come down to the pitch, whenever I came to visit London, he always came across as so confident, and it's like it just shows you that you don't know what's going on in people's heads,
mm.
or what their story's been, or what their history is. And I was overwhelmed that I just made this really snap decision in this guy who's overconfident because he's a brilliant rugby player.
Definitely,
Um,
definitely one of the best ever that we've had.
yeah, and he's just so brilliant. And I just thought, oh God, this guy has had his life, it's been perfect. And then you hear his story, and you're like, oh, actually, no, no, it's not.
Yeah,
Um, so yeah, and Drew's story is good as well. I mean, Drew's obviously one of our friends, and maybe I didn't give it as much in my head. Didn't give it as much like wow because I know his story too well, and like to me, it's always just been Drew. Um,
I don't think they paid the same attention though to Drew than they did the others because um, there wasn't a
there was no
there's
sad backstory.
yeah. Do you know what I mean? Like the others have very clear
Yeah,
like oh someone has passed away and someone's been ill and they really pulled on that sort of mental health aspect. Whereas Drew's part was more about the challenges of being feminine and masculine within like gay rugby still has a definitely masc element to it,
yeah,
and I wish there was a bit more into it because when we do this big rugby fundraiser called you know based in a big nightclub in London called Heaven, and it raises a lot of money. And Drew was actually the person to start it all. I don't think enough people know that Drew was the one who drove all of this forward and actually started the event.
yeah.
And at the
Can I just
time,
say, can I
yeah,
at the time when he put that forward, because I was on the committee when he put that forward, and I remember sitting in the meeting with the committee and he put this forward, and I said, look, I don't think this is going to work, and I shot it down from the day one, and I was like, I don't think it's going to work. I think but everybody else is like, well, we've no better ideas, and I'm like, yeah, okay, we've no better ideas. And then even like up to like 2 or 3 weeks before, I was like, oh, this is going to be so embarrassing. It's going to fall through, and it was basically because the ticket sales weren't coming through,
yeah, yeah, I
and then
remember.
all of a sudden, like the last 2 or 3 weeks, it just blew up, blew up, blew up. And I
And we had a
like,
lot at the door. We
I
had sold a lot of tickets at the door. That's what I think people were worried about, but we got them.
well, yeah, I worked the door because I did
You
the door that
refused
night,
entry for
and
many people.
I had to. We reached capacity.
Mm.
I was like, no, I'm sorry, your name's not on the list. You're not coming in.
People said you had a power
I,
trip.
no, those people need to take a seat. People who are saying that were expecting people to get in for free and then come back out. And I'm like, how am I going to know you're going to get in for free? To me, this is a fundraiser. I don't know who you are. I have to take your word that you're saying whoever's in there is going to come back and give me money. That's not going to happen. And you're expecting me to go and find you in a nightclub full of 500 people? Please, no. Sorry, no. If the person who was supposed to have that person come in had come and said to me, "Oh, by the way, this person's going to come. They'll say my name. Do you mind letting them in? I'd be like, of course. But that didn't happen.
Um,
So power trip my ass.
so the Heaven event has been really, really good, and me. So Drew had started with me and one other person, a little drag group called Devilicious, like the year before when we were in Manchester,
Yeah.
and we got a lot of backlash, from members within the club saying that we were perpetuating the stereotypes of like um, people were just creepy in the showers, looking at people being super
Well,
feminine, not
yeah.
about the rugby. Yeah, yeah. Honestly, like there were quite a few issues at the time, and then the event had happened. They realized how big the event was, how amazing it was, the hard work that was put in, the amount of money that
But
was raised was ridiculous.
these were people. These were people who weren't actually, if I remember right, weren't really part of the club anymore. They had just started the club. Maybe had coached for a bit afterwards after they'd retired playing, and then some of them hadn't even like moved out of London, and they were writing down to Moan.
Well, no, I don't. I think that's a
And
bit wrong. I think that's a bit unfair to be, and I don't think that the people that started the club get anywhere near enough credit. I think people forget their history quite easily, and I actually
oh no,
believe, and the, I think the biggest opportunity missed in the documentary that we watched was no interview, no recognition of the people that actually started the club. Because if it wasn't for them, there wouldn't be all of this, and I believe that they have a right to express their views. Now, I don't think their views were necessarily correct, and their way is the right way and stuff, and it's it needs to be progressive in some ways. But I don't think that that's a bit fair. I think you can earn your dues, and I think they have.
yeah. I mean, I guess you can say that, but I also think 100% the place where the club is at now would never have happened, and I think that is talked about in the documentary. Like you
Mm.
said, maybe not given as much emphasis, but they definitely do say, if it wasn't for this happening, this would never happen. And they sort of go back, but it's none of this would have ever happened if those few friends hadn't sat around that bar in Camden. I do think it's very different when you're saying, to me, I'm not saying those people shouldn't have their opinion, but I think the club they started 20 years ago is a very different club than it is now, based on social changes.
Yeah.
And and I 100%. And I remember it was the image of the three of you in the shower, looking at like a guy showering,
Mm.
but you guys were dressed in drag, and I remember it causing ripples, and you remember getting emails and everything coming through about the drama it was causing. um but it's like, well, I 100% appreciate that they disagree with this, but at the same time, it is a marketing piece, and I think it sums up quite well what we're trying to achieve. Not to say that we're trying to achieve people creeping each other in the showers, but
Mm.
it's, I don't know. I thought it was funny. To me, it came across as humorous, the thing, because
No,
yeah,
but
it
what
is.
I disagree with is like the sentiment that they aren't really around the club anymore, and they may not have been in London at the time, and that sort of stuff. I don't agree with that mentality that they're not welcome to the club that they built, or that they don't contribute actively at this moment in time. Because I think that's where you were angling a bit when you said like, well, they weren't even there, so they can't say anything, kind of thing. And I think the
Well,
documentary didn't pay any attention. You should interview the literally because those people are there. Like you should literally have spoken to
yeah,
those individuals and filmed them about joining and making the club and their experiences, especially when it comes to Drew's storyline of being masked femme in a masked rugby environment, but putting that sort of like queer twist on it, like because there is a lot to unpick in that. Even within ourselves, we have internalized homophobia when it comes to acting as camp way and things like that, and I think a lot of us, especially back then, rejected the idea that we could be feminine and still, perform at a certain level, or they thought we were unfocused because we wanted to perform in drag for our rugby club and to enjoy it, which is I don't think correct, obviously, because I think and Drew says it, Drew's a quality. Drew's one of the best rugby players the club has ever seen, and
yeah,
he's
100%.
also one of the most fabulous ones as well. And I think that comes. I think you could have put a bit more into that, but I think um, those who started the club and those who have done it, I think you earn your dues, and I think a lot of them have, and I think that is easily missed now and before To be fair, that's
I,
my
th-
opinion.
I think you're right to some degree. What I would just say is I wasn't saying that because they're no longer in the club they don't have an opinion. What I would say as a committee, you have to make decisions best for the club based on what you have around you now. And it's very easy to say somebody had this in the past, which is true, and we have to give credit to that. But at the same time, if they were still actively part of the club, their voice would have more meaning.
Yeah, yeah,
And 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 I mean that in the sense of we're sitting here in a committee of people who weren't around when the club started 20 odd years ago, but they're the ones that are making the decision best in the club now, based on that they're voted in a committee, and they have to do what they have to do. For somebody who wasn't in the club saying, "Well, I started this club, and this means this, so you're not allowed to do that," it's like, well, actually, you did start the club, and we're very grateful for that. But 20 years have moved by, and we are a club that needs to raise money. We need to put on stuff, and we need to make decisions based on what we need to do. And this is the decision we're making. As it's their choice whether to then say, actually, you're right. I disagree with what you're doing, but they then shouldn't go on and still be like, this is terrible that they've not taken my opinion on board.
yeah, yeah,
and
yeah.
and it's like, well, we did, but we just also disregard it because we have to make the decision best for the club right now.
No, I understand that bit for sure. Yeah, you kind of need to express your opinion, but then still live with the results of it,
Yeah,
of
not
what
go
happens.
not go on social and moan about how disgusting it is.
No.
Anyway, but yeah, it was such a good documentary.
Yeah, I thought it was a decent documentary.
It is due to get released into. I guess it's still going into. I mean, like I said, I was very shocked to get invited, but also very grateful. Um, but it is still going to be released into the film festivals whenever everything happens again, because obviously everything's shut down due to COVID-19. And then I guess it'll make some sort of release. I don't know. I mean, if it's going to might be on iTunes or wherever it might be. So yeah, it'd be interesting.
Mm. I'd love if there was like, 'cause I watched a sports documentary recently, just the other week, that finished about basketball. Obviously, Michael Jordan and the Chicago Bulls, and it's called The Last Dance, and it's a very, very good documentary. Obviously, it's like high budget and stuff, and a lot. This is like 25 years of work put into it and stuff. But I would love if there was like a true documentary about um, some of the rugby clubs. I think there's like a deep, rich history within like 25 years of being with the Kingshaw Steelers, and um, I think, yeah, I'd love to see that sort of story. Learn more about the real difficulties within like the first 5 years and stuff like that. Because losing, it took a long time. It took over a year or something for the Steelers to win the first game, kind of thing. But to be able
Yeah.
to plow through and things like that, I'd love to hear about that. I'd love to hear more
Well,
about the
yeah,
stories from the original people that started.
yeah. I think when they say in the documentary that they sent out like over 130 odd invites for games
Mm.
and only 20 people came back, it shows a mentality where the club is now. It's dominating in one of the toughest leagues. Um, and because a lot of people backlash. Remember whenever the team it was in was it last year? The team won Team of the Year.
Yes, yeah, they did.
Um, and a lot of people said it was virtual signaling because it was a gay team, and it was undeserved because you just don't give it because it's a gay team. So, well, actually, it was given because they had an undefeated year and they dominated in a very competitive league in the Essex League, and
Mm.
what they'd achieved, not just as a gay team but as a rugby team, was phenomenal.
Yeah, because they were promoted that season as well, so it's the first time in that league, and it was undefeated, which is excellent.
Mm. Yeah. Oh, do you know what? I actually feel so tired today.
Mm. I had this week
We
as well.
played we played some games last night, which are super fun. Um, I went to bed and I started watching some Rick and Morty, and then I fell asleep watching some South Park. And this is only like half 12 because we no 1 o'clock maybe. Um, and then yeah, I turned to close my laptop and like fell asleep, and then I woke up again about half 8 this morning, half 8 9. Went out for a little 5K run, and then came back And that was a joke. I didn't really do for 5K run. I
I was
thought
going
you'd
to say
call me
there's
out when
no
I
way
sit
because it
there.
would have been all over Instagram. Not a chance in hell.
I actually exercised yesterday and it wasn't on Instagram, so it was yeah, my legs are too sore today. And tomorrow is a big CrossFit day. Matt, you should join us on what we're going to do tomorrow for CrossFit.
I can almost say exclusively, absolutely, that that will never, ever in a million years happen. But thank you for the invite.
Wow, you're so disappointing. Um, so tomorrow we do. It's kind of globally done as well. It's called Murph, and it's because it's like Memorial Day. Um, it's the it's one of the bigger, more popular CrossFit workouts where it's a mile run, 300 air squats, 200 push-ups, 100 pull-ups, and then another mile run. Um, the proper way to do it is you wear a weighted vest throughout and you don't break up um, the movements. But for people who are a little bit, you know, I don't know what word to say, but I am going to do the mile run. I'm not going to wear a vest, and I am going to break up my movements. So I'm going to do 20 sets of 15 air squats, 10 push-ups, and 5 pull-ups. But I can't do pull-ups because I have no bar. So I'm going to do burpees.
Oh, pull-ups, just not the one. No, thank you,
Mm,
ma'am. I weigh too much for that shit. Two, and I'm done. Actually, I did get to three pull-ups, and then and that was me done. So I don't know how these people do like 100 in real life. I don't think I'll ever get to that point. I don't think so.
mm,
I know I should have more faith in myself, but it's just, I really enjoy food. I
yeah.
really do, and I'm upset. I know that some McDonald's have opened, and my housemate was talking about the line that there was for McDonald's in Kent, just outside of London, and he said that there was literally like this long queue at 10:30 in the morning of cars like out into the main road, and it was just going and going and going because everyone's using this shit, isn't it? Lining up for McDonald's now. Um, and I never want McDonald's. Like McDonald's is not really my thing, but now that it's open, I want to have it just because, like, it's that
Yeah.
kind of thing, isn't it? So um, yeah.
Well, I had a coffee yesterday with Mickey and Tilly, and they had pizza last night, and I was like so jealous. Um, yeah, I was just like, oh, but no, I didn't. What did I have? I had like sausage salad.
A
It's so
sausage
weird.
salad,
Yeah, I had like a salad, and then I also had these sausages and covered the sausages in curry sauce.
curry sauce sausage salad.
Well, I didn't mix the salad with the curries. I had them like two different plates, but yeah, essentially that's what I had for dinner.
This is so ridiculous. Yeah, I was saying this. I was saying this before because I call them Franken meals. Like I prepare like my meals and stuff. But as I want to make sure I try and eat as much of the food that I have without wasting it. So as it sort of peters towards the end as my lunches, some of the meals are absolute like just like mishmash of food. Like just because I want to eat it and I don't want to waste it. So I'm like, God, these meals are weird. They're still things I like.
Yeah,
Obviously, they're just not like whole meals. So
yeah, and you wouldn't combine them usually.
yeah, for sure. What have you got going on this week,
Oh,
Ashley?
well, this week it's another grueling week at work. We've been really busy recently, which is obviously good, but it is like this. This week has been really tough. I found it really challenging at work. And I think it was because on the Thursday, my boss was like, "Should we both take Friday off? We're pretty quiet." And we're like, "Yeah, let's do that. Let's do that." Um, and they just give us a really long weekend. And then like Thursday 4 o'clock, shit hit the fan. And then Friday morning, shit hit the fan. And I was like, "Oh my god, it's supposed to be off. It's supposed to be off today." And then yeah, so tomorrow or I'm off tomorrow. Obviously, my boss emailed to say I could take Tuesday off to make up for not being off Friday. But I've just so much on. And I was like, "Oh, it's easier just to log in and get it done." Um, but I'm going to work. I really have to up my exercise. So
Mm.
what's been happening is um, when I get my meal. I used to get my meals made for me, and it's a little company, and it's the same lady as before when I lived here before, and I never had really issues. But she's now moved places. But what she does is she does in a different place, and it's the same thing. But ever since I started getting the meals, I've just been sick. I don't know why. She says that their stuff's like not gluten in it. But I've just literally, and we tested it. I was off them for a week, a month ago, and then went back on them for a week, and I was just sick again as soon as I started eating them. So it was clearly something in it, and now I've gone off them again, and I'm fine.
She's definitely making you ill.
You know what? I don't know why she's being such a nasty bitch. No, I'm joking. I don't think she's obviously doing it intentionally, but she swears that they're gluten free, and I don't doubt that she thinks they're gluten free. And she says that they're made. She makes my meals first in the morning, so there's no contamination, which I don't really believe. And I'll call bullshit on this, because there's times when I go down to get my meals at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and she's like, "Oh, they're not ready yet." And I'm like, "Well, if you're saying they're made first when you start work at 8:30, but you're telling me they're not, and it's only chicken. Like, I'm not asking you to roast anything. It's a chicken fillet that you've cooked. Why is it not ready at 2 o'clock in the afternoon?" So don't bullshit a bullshitter. Anyway, so it once the gluten gets into my system, it takes a little while for it to get out. But this is like the first few days where I've actually started feeling normal again, where I don't have pains anywhere, and I don't wake up feeling nauseous. So yesterday I was able to do a workout, which is really good. Tomorrow I'm looking forward to doing this thing, and I will. I've just put on so much weight, because when I do feel sick, I can't really do much movement, and in my head, what I do is eat a lot of junk. Well, not in my head, but in my head, I think it's easier to eat a lot of junk food, because like things like chocolate, I think melt, and they're easily digested, and that's the mentality that I have. So when I'm sick, I just eat lots of chocolate, because it makes me feel better. I think it's easier to digest. But now I'm feeling better again. I'm just like, you know what? I don't actually want to. Like last night, I only had a couple of Guinness, and I was like, could have drunk more, but no, don't want to be hazy. So anyway, this week I'm going to be exercising a lot more.
Good.
A hell of a lot more. Yeah, but I've just put on so much weight. My mom likes to tell me.
Well, she should do, after you're horrible to her, telling her, eating chocolate in her face and then calling her fat belly. Like,
It's like
definitely going. You should do.
Yeah. No, I will. What about you, Matt? What are you doing this week?
I don't know. I haven't really thought about what I'm going to do this week. Furlough life is starting to slow down a bit. So I do a little bit more. I've started this play thing, so I got the rehearsals. We had our first rehearsals last week, and like a little like drinks yesterday, and then we're going to do some rehearsals this week. So I'll learn like my lines and stuff that I need to do for that. I think I might get back on the old script writing thing as well, but nothing. We'll see. Visit me, ma'am. Cycle a bit more. I've been cycling a fair amount, which is really nice. I got bitch slapped in with the wind yesterday, though. Absolutely disgusting, and got like hailstones in my eyes, so that was horrible. But yeah, I'm enjoying a little bite. So that'd be me for this week.
Nice. I am just about to. Our Patreon, Sean, is coming down, and we're going to go for a walk on the beach. Social distancing, obviously. But yeah, a little walk on the beach, I think, and then yeah, that's it. I don't know. I might watch a film tonight. I might see if people want to play games later on. But yeah, no real plans.
All right. Should we wrap it up?
Well, I think we should wrap it up. Guys, thank you very much for listening to another episode. We waffled a lot in this episode.
You did.
Oh, I feel attacked. But yeah. Thanks, Matt, I guess.
Thanks, Ashley, I guess. I hope you have a lovely week, Ashley, and I hope the rain stays away, because it's wonderful here next week.
Yeah, thank you. And I hope you have a great week, and no doubt I'll chat to you soon. Thank you, everyone, for listening.
We hope that you're enjoying the sun wherever you are. Hopefully it's sunny everywhere, and you get some
Vitamin D. Yeah, we love the D. Vitamin D.
Sweet.
Oh, yeah, all right, bye-bye.
Oh, bye.